Hopwood Hall has been on Historic England's at-risk register for over 25 years. It was home to my ancestors, the Hopwoods, who resided there for over 500 years. Living in America, I had heard family stories passed down through the centuries about a Hopwood castle, but I didn't think it could possibly be still standing. But it was, just barely. At the time, I had no idea that I would end up moving over to the UK to help rescue Hopwood Hall from ruin. With key partners like Historic England, we're taking on the renovation project of a lifetime. This requires myself, the community, and students to be trained in heritage building skills and maintenance so that we can restore the hall to its former glory.
So we're scanning some rooms on the ground floor in order to get records of the current state of preservation of those rooms.
This is the point cloud it's creating.
Right. Oh, wow.
This is what it's collected so far.
So it's creating a virtual room.
Yeah.
It's cool to think this is a really old building and then using the futuristic methods to save it.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Absolutely.
Having the responsibility of caring for a building like Hopwood Hall is quite daunting. You realize that it's been here for hundreds of years, so the idea that we are here trying to protect it and carry it into the future, it's overwhelming because you think how important this is that we get this right. We don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to put the building at jeopardy. We don't want to risk anything here. We just want to take it up and improve it and save it for generations to come. Today is the first day of a 2-week intensive training here at Hopwood Hall, and a group of students are here from across the country, and we're all going to be learning a variety of heritage skills, including wood carving from an expert woodcarver, plaster designs from master plasterers, historic building maintenance from top advisors, and much, much more. And there is going to be a test at the end. A test! We are here in the banquet room, which dates back to 1689 and was originally built for a wedding in the Hopwood family and then renovated in the 1700s. Behind me, you can see these plaster designs. Now here, there are missing pieces. Those have either been damaged or fallen or have been stolen over the time. So today we have Keith here, who is a master plasterer, and he is going to teach us how to recreate these designs from existing designs that are still here on the wall. And you do that by taking a squeeze, that's plaster lingo, for creating a latex mold around these existing designs.
So that's near enough, as far as I'm concerned, good enough to put it on for the first coat, and then we're going to put it on with a brush. And then we're just going to build it up slowly. So all we're going to do is very gently peel it off. There you go. So that's your little patcher. And from that, we can then, using the wall lining, which is the background here, we can actually make new patchers to stick on the walls for forever.
So here are two of the squeezes that we've made. This is a larger one. And you can see it's very flexible. It's made out of latex, but this is one of the designs in the hall. And now we can pour plaster into this, and then it will harden and we'll be able to replace the damaged design with a new one like for like. We're so lucky that Historic England has partnered us up with established experts like Tom, who know all about rescuing a building and bring it back into use. He knows everything about what we should be doing and also everything about what we shouldn't be doing or shouldn't have done. Where do we even begin here with a floor like this that has these historic timbers but yet is covered in dry rot?
Well, you've got several separate elements there. What do you do with what's already here? And the answer to that is if it's actually got dry rot in it, that's got to be removed.
So all of those floorboards had to be lifted, and the good news is the dry rot is all dying off or has died off.
And what you've got below here is bare earth. So you've got moisture is coming up. And to prevent the dry rot or any rot getting excessive or even taking hold, you need ventilation.
As he's talking about ventilation, I start to think, okay, this is more than I signed up for.
The simple thing about repair and maintenance in this country is moisture management. Get this cement pointing out of the way, nice and gently to not damage the bricks or the stones, then allow this to dry, and that could be months. If you don't maintain your building, if you let that moisture come through your roof, if you allow the rainwater goods to get blocked and moisture's coming in, not only does it make the buildings wetter, but it makes them colder, because water actually removes heat and sucks heat out of your building.
You can see areas within the hall that they tried to improve in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, but with materials that weren't exactly right. Little did they realize that it was causing more damage in the future to the fabric of the hall. As you've probably seen in one of our earlier videos, we've completely revamped the servants' wing, which was near collapse. We pulled out all the concrete mortar on that back wing and replaced it with lime mortar, which is the proper way to go. So that brick is now being held intact and it's breathing once again, and it's becoming healthy brick. I feel like here we are using our hands, making these things, learning these trades, learning about the building, really absorbing it like sponges.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like it's life-changing in a way.
I feel quite honoured to be taught these things.
The students and I are so excited to learn our next heritage skill, which is how to carve this. This is made of wood and is an original carving from the ceiling in the morning room. Originally, the ceiling is very ornate and it had 38 of these designs. Now only 7 remain after having been damaged or stolen. So we have to learn how to carve wood. And we are going to be replacing these pieces on the ceiling. It's going to take a lot of hands and a lot of students and a lot of ideas of how to get this done, but fortunately we have Saina here, who is an expert wood carver, and she's going to teach us how to do this.
Going down and sliding it out. In, slide, and in, slide.
All right, now we've got this all cleared out, but it is quite rough, as you can see. But now I'm gonna move on to the center of the flower and then onto the petals.
Perfect. Very good. That's it.
Yeah, intense for, concentration, but also being like, you've got to keep your hands incredibly still. Very sort of, entrancing when you get into it. You kind of get stuck in and you kind of block out everyone. Well, I tend to at least. But then when I come back to it, I feel like I've been rude to people in that, but I've been very, very focused.
They already knew you were an artist and they put you on the advanced class, even though we started at the same time.
I've got a long way to go.
Here you can see on the door where our instructor Saina was describing that we were going to learn to do something similar. Look, this is what I did, this pattern here. And yes, it's not quite as big or as deep, but it's just fascinating. It's so exciting to think that I did this, and this is what they did hundreds of years ago. And to think I could improve and get better and potentially be able to replace areas where the paneling, the carvings are missing. So exciting. So here you can see this cement that was added over the brick in the 1960s. We are hand chipping all of this off. And now with the new skill that myself and the students are learning, we are going to be eventually putting the hot lime plaster back over the brick, which will allow it to breathe.
And all you're doing now is just trying to bring it up to temperature. If you don't bring it up to temperature, it won't be no good when you put it on the wall.
I actually got to use a plaster spraying machine, which is not something that they had way back when. They used to throw the plaster. It was a whole art on trying to make it splatter flat. But I'm all about modern conveniences, and if we can get more work done in less time by using this machine, and we're allowed to use this machine, then we might as well learn how to do that too. This is original design from the 1700s, so Keith is now going to teach the students and I how to recreate this design so that we can rebuild this entire design on the wall, and this is throughout the banquet room. So I just start going through and layering one by one. Every minute I do another layer. The 1 minute gives just enough time for it to begin to harden, and then you go back over it with the profile. Then you come back, add a little bit more plaster, and go back over it with the profile.
One of the things about our industry is it's magical for people with dyslexia. Because you're working with your hands, there's nothing really to read. You're producing something with your hands. It's physical, but whatever you make is what you make with your hands. So people with learning difficulties, it's an excellent craft. It's great for people that have no confidence or want confidence building. You produce something every day. You can take things home. You can produce something that's going to be there for 100 years.
Not only restoring the building, but also having a clear understanding of what they did hundreds of years ago.
You can clearly see that the whole of that wall is now getting drenched, the mortar's being eroded and washed away and just leaving the bare bricks. Well, when you look at this superficially, it could be render or it could be stonework.
Right.
Now, because of this horrible plastic paint that's been trapping moisture in it, because that's peeling off.
So this is paint that they probably put on in the 60s or 70s, maybe later?
Well, plastic paint is definitely going to be beyond or newer than the 1950s. So, and you know that evolution.
So this should all be off, huh?
Yeah, and it would come off quite easily.
Yeah, it does, okay. And now it's time for the test. Okay, I am filling in my information on this test. I've got 1 hour. I'm very nervous. Okay, here we go. I have 1 hour. I better get started. Oh, here comes the instructor.
I'm really passionate about passing heritage craft because it is kind of a dying skill.
There are probably only 30 apprentices in plasterwork, fibrous plasterwork in the UK, but every month 30 people die or retire in the industry.
And it's so important that we take these heritage skills and we pass them on to other generations.
But the problem is lack of people that are interested.
I was involved in other projects working with very young people, so 14 to 18. And when I was talking to them, they thought craft is something you do for hobby. It's nothing important.
There are so many precious historic buildings all over the UK that need to be saved, that need help, like Hopwood Hall.
These skills exist, and it is very important skill for the future.
And I know that on projects like this, we quite often have apprentices coming in.
Because I'm always interested about fixing buildings and like looking at things and going, I've been involved in that.
To see the young students here learning and absorbing this knowledge, you can see a light go on in their eyes, how they just feel excited and passionate.
Plastering for me was really satisfying because I've never done it before.
I've never carved to this detail before.
The material, it goes from being like a liquid to then turn into a solid.
The lime wood is so nice to carve into.
Running it along, you know, you feel like you're getting nowhere.
One side could be really easy to carve into, and then the next it splits.
But then you actually do get somewhere.
You have to work with the material, not tell it what to do.
Which is really, really good. So I've really enjoyed that part as well.
And I really want to carry that technique on. I don't want to lose this skill.
I actually have those people coming in, learning the trade on a real project.
And these students can then go on to have jobs, not only here at Hopwood Hall, but at other places throughout the country and the world.
And because I work in heritage sector, so I work in areas where it's quite well known, so Tarv, London.
I work for the Sultan of Brunei and Borneo.
I worked in a few colleges in Oxford, New College, Oriel College.
Greece, Spain, California, Beirut, Toronto, New Zealand, just to name a few places.
St. Paul's Cathedral, and that was amazing.
We was actually asked to work on Windsor Castle.
I can take my friends and family and tell them, by the way, there's my work, and I did that.
I worked on Buckingham Palace. I was there for probably 6 or 7 months. It was a project that I hold dear to my heart.
That's a great feeling, that my work will be part of the history, and hopefully it will last a long time.
Can I make a living out of it? 100%.
the important thing, they can make a living out of this and they can have a great life.
I want to build my own business from the ground up really. I just want to be my own person, make my own money, make myself proud really and my family.
It's the buildings you're working on, you become part of. You actually, it's true, you put your soul into them.
The post has just arrived here at Hopwood Hall, and there is an envelope here from CITB, which is a construction industry training board. Okay, here we go. What do we have? Yes! This is to certify that Hopwood DePree has achieved the following qualification: Level 3 award in understanding repair and maintenance of traditional pre-1919 buildings. I got it! Woohoo! Yes! I am certified. This has been a collaboration with Historic England. If you would like to see more videos about the restoration of Hopwood Hall, please head over to our channel on YouTube at Hopwood XIV. There we have all sorts of videos dating back to the beginning of the project, and we also have more in-depth episodes of this Heritage Skills program showing the wood carving and the plaster making. If you think you might have a passion for learning some of these heritage skills, please consider coming over and joining us at one of our workshops in the future. A big thank you to Historic England and to all of our instructors, and we hope to see you in the future, and thank you so much for all your support.